What's the smartest thing you've ever seen someone do during a D&D campaign? Part 3. This wasn't D&D, but another, even more nerdy comic book role-playing game. Our GM was kind of a prick. Not in a terribly bad way, he just really liked messing with us by making his bad guys really hard to kill and then taunting us mercilessly with him. Kind of like a real comic book supervillain would. At this point, I can't even remember the name of the bad guy we were trying to beat, but we were having very little luck. We'd fought him a few times and every time he'd escape as soon as we thought we might finally have him. This guy had minions galore that would keep us busy. He had armor that was nearly indestructible and very little damage would get through it. We'd pound on him with everything we had. He was just too strong and we kept getting beat back. Because he was so strong, and because our GM wasn't a total asshole, he'd only make an appearance at really dramatic points or when the plot absolutely called for it. Pretty much every time we battled him, we had taken the fight to his doorstep. And then we'd get our asses kicked back home. At some point, our GM became so proud of his bad guy that he took the time to draw him. He did a really good job of making him look large and formidable. He went into great detail on the armor and the guy's weapon. He even took a long time to get the facial expression just right so that we could tell he was mocking us. Every time we encountered him, the GM would slap the picture up on the blackboard behind him so we had to see that mocking face. A few weeks before what would be his final appearance, a new member joined our group. Matt was pretty new to tabletop gaming and we were trying to ease him into it, so we had done some simple side missions and such to get him used to the combat system and how things were calculated. Matt was a pretty quick learner and really started getting into his character. So when the GM decided that he had enough practice, he threw Big Bad at us again. This time, he was on the offensive. He had tracked us down and was looking to wipe us out once and for all. Our GM dramatically slapped the picture up on the blackboard and we all let out a groan. Everyone except Matt. He had heard of this bad guy but hadn't known the agony of defeat at his hands yet. We all prepared for battle, trying to come up with a strategy amongst ourselves while the bad guy made his entrance. The GM had a speech prepared and everything. He was going on and on about how we were trapped and he would finally be the victor. Matt wasn't bothered. He interrupted the GM to ask a question. So, this guy looks exactly like how you drew him, right? Yeah. Every detail. Cool. I shoot him in the face. I can do that, right? Like right now while he's in the middle of his grand speech. Yeah. It's a really difficult shot, but yeah. This counts as a sneak attack, right? Fuck. Yeah. Matt rolls his dice, that's a critical hit, if I'm not mistaken. Boom. Dead Big Bad. For over a year, we had fought this guy repeatedly. For over a year, we were just throwing shots and punches at him in general. We'd never considered taking the odds with a called shot. Hell, I don't even know if anyone else even considered the fact that his face was completely unarmored. We all laugh about it now, but damn was our GM pissed. He had a whole scene where the guy plays with us before eventually wiping us out for real. The GM was tired of this particular gaming system and wanted to move on. He also wanted to teach Matt that sometimes your character dies and you have to reroll. C'est la vie. You deal with it and move on. Maybe make a shrine to your character if it was a particularly awesome one. At least he didn't have to keep running that game anymore. Shameless rule lowering to save the party. Thankfully, it took very little time. Ravenloft campaign. I'm playing a druid. We entered a room and saw a pile of bones at a corner. Typically of Ravenloft, the bones formed a bone golem. Bone golems have a magical laugh, which makes you to say versus death twice. Lose both rolls and you die. Lose one roll and you become a bit mad. It's bad, because it is sound based and affects the entire party. I had a silent spell ready. Of course, I lost the initiative. The bone golem opened with a laugh, except I asked the DM, does it say it always opens with a laugh? The answer was no. The MM wrote the golem may laugh. The DM gave it a 50-50 chance, and rolled. We lucked out. The golem did a physical attack on round 1. I cast the silent spell afterwards. Round 2. The golem proceeds to another physically attack, except I say to the DM, does it really know it's under a silent spell? The DM gave me an ugly look, but considered. He made the 50-50 roll again. The golem then laughed, in silence. There's an art to antagonizing DMs. I was approaching close to Rock's fall. I played nice for a number of sessions afterwards. It was actually a Gamma World 1E campaign, and I was running it for my kids. They were playing bipedal rats, and they were really into the character-driven motive of finding a safe place to live, and not being killed and eaten by horrible mutant monsters. So unlike every single other party of adventurers I've run games for over the last almost 30 years, they would see a really powerful enemy, or a massive and intimidating installation, and say nah, let's go around run away. They were really good at scavenging at safer places and taking down weaker enemies, so they would accumulate little bits of equipment here and there. At one point they found a grenade and kept it for weeks. They came on a bunker in the ground, and could smell a lot of nasty creatures sleeping down there. So they rolled the grenade in, shut the bunker door and looted whatever wasn't destroyed. Not particularly heroic, or involved, or even the most creative thing I've ever seen players do, but, well, it was probably one of the most efficient uses of a single shot item I can remember. Short form, my party once pissed off two nobles who both wanted their heads on pikes, so they joined both houses while making their own. The setup. The party through a series of bad decisions royally, and I mean royally, pissed off two of the largest noble houses in the land, with royal blood between each. After one too many assassination attempts, the paladin's player said I'm into the bard. I had no idea what they were talking about sadly, and I was the GM. I had no idea what they cooked up. Disguises, illusion spells, and a few carefully orchestrated events. They put both nobles at each other's throats. And these two houses were absolutely the most powerful politically, to have the two of them go at it. To pile injury on insult, they made damn sure that there was no chance at reconciliation between the two. Without either of them in the way, they made appeals directly to the king behind their backs, who was getting upset at the two of them wrecking his kingdom. That he put the players as the middle kingdom in between the two with, and I quote, to smack the ever-loving shit out of them if they forget who they work for again. So yay, I put them right back in the middle of the two of them. That's the setup. Aha. Gotcha, deal with that one now. I'm thinking, yay, no, I spoke too soon. What did the bard do? He seduced and married the daughter of one while ensuring the daughter of the other fell for the paladin, who was his in-character brother. This is the bard who wouldn't settle for anyone. Then he pulls that stunt. You want to talk about awkward at that family reunion? And I'm there just looking at their smug faces. What could I do? I wanted a civil war, and the party not only set one up, but neatly ended it right then and there too. Damn it. Different time. Big bad standing there, taunting us behind a wall of force. We're soundly trounced. The key to the MacGuffin already in the lock, and all he had to do was turn it. What does my mage do? Mage hand. GM. Okay. Kinda wimpy, but what are you doing? Me. I'm breaking the key in the lock. GM. Ha. Alright, so it breaks. The big bad looks at the stump of the key, the other half on the ground, looks at you and says, well, this is awkward. If you can't win, a stalemate is just as good. I'm not sure if this falls into the category of smartest or luckiest, but let me set the stage. 4th edition Champions, which is a superhero game. In it, you can take frameworks for powers and then use in-game modifiers to reduce the point cost. Now this player was playing a unique character, and all he said to me was that he would like a ridiculously overpowered move, even if he never gets to use it. I agreed to build one for him because his character was so fantastic. Nick was his name. The basic setup for his character was that he was in the middle of a liquor store when it was being robbed. He attempted to be a hero and stop the robbery and got pistol whipped by the robber, knocking him down. When his character fell, he hit his head on the side of a rum bottle. When he came to, he saw the label of the bottle and, being disoriented and having a bout of amnesia, thought the label was a mirror. And so he thought he was a pirate. His powers gave him the ability to become intangible and shapeshift, so he shapeshifted permanently into the form of a ghost pirate. He could teleport short distances and had a sword. And this mysterious 1-point power that even he didn't know what it did. But every time he activated any power, he had to roll a d100, 2d10 with one designated as 10s and the other as 1s, with 00 being 100. He didn't know why. The game lasted for 3 years, and every time he activated a power, he rolled. Nothing ever happened. It became a running joke at the table that we would probably complete the campaign and never know what it was. Late one night, everyone was fighting the big bad in a cavern and there were minions and the heroes were overwhelmed. As the DMI actually thought they were going to party wipe, they stumbled into the area with no reconnaissance or preparation. Everyone was low on health, and Nick decided his character needed to retreat to heal, and so he turned intangible. He rolled the D100. And for the first time in 3 years, he rolled 100. I played it off as though nothing happened and we continued through another turn. And then the fog started to roll in. The clang of a bell ringing could be heard throughout the cave. All the minions and the big bad, and even the players themselves, stopped fighting. Everyone was trying to figure out what was happening. Sprays of winds with sea salt gusted past them, and out of the blackness, a ghostly apparition of a fully manned schooner sailed in on non-existent water. Deckhands rattled sabers and lashed lines to rocks in the cave as planks were deployed and ghost pirates flooded the cave. It was mass panic, even from the players, as no one knew what the hell was going on. Meanwhile, Nick had figured it out and his character was just laughing in the corner, issuing directions at no one in particular. The ghost pirates would grab or kill people, and then drag them back onto the schooner, throwing their bodies into the furnace. After 10 minions had been disposed of this way, a giant cannon emerged from the front of the ship and began to charge with each body thrown into it. When there were no more minions left, the PCs and Big Bad were able to fight off the ghost pirates. It unleashed an energy blast that did so much damage that it tore an arm and a leg off the Big Bad. I also instructed Nick to cross the power off his sheet. The pirates began singing songs and drinking as the ship and its crew sailed back into the blackness of the afterlife. They were able to capture the Big Bad, even as wounded as they were, and progress the story much farther because he was smart enough to ask for something as a surprise to even him that fit his character design and was lucky enough to have it activate in his party's most dire time of need of the entire campaign.